respected Subhankar sir, Mr. Singhal, Mr. Gandhi, dignitaries on the dais, organizers of this important event, and friends. I'm coming to this area after a pretty long time, and while I was driving down, I saw on the GPS map the lane called Joshi Lane, which I think Mr. Viren Marchand, I don't know whether he is here or not. All right, great. And I feel that it's like a pilgrimage, because the ALM movement started from Joshi Lane in Ghatkopar only. So I'm reminded of my days of frequent visits to this area when I was additional municipal commissioner in the BMC almost 18 years ago. And now Mr. Singhal is there, is a very able officer. I'm sure he will update you on what's happening on the solid waste management. Well, currently going by my present assignment, I must clarify that I am State Information Commissioner looking after Greater Mumbai bench. We work through the benches, and currently, incidentally, I am holding the additional charge of the Chief Information Commissioner for the state of Maharashtra also. Now, I'll quickly run through some important provisions of RTI Act so that a background is set for you to ask questions, and we'll try to give answers, particularly with regard to the subjects that are being discussed in the agenda since yesterday. But I must tell you that the issue of RTI, it runs across the themes that we are discussing. In fact, it touches all the aspects of the functioning of the governance. RTI Act, to my mind, is one of the most powerful act or most powerful tool for bringing transparency in the governance. And I feel honored in sharing dais with Mr. Shailesh Gandhi, who, as Mr. Subhankar said, was instrumental in seeing that the RTI Act is enacted and is implemented in the country successfully. Well, RTI, as you know, right to information, we call it in short RTI. Right to information is a fundamental right in the country. Most of you would know it. It was pronounced as a fundamental right by several judicial pronouncement decisions of the Supreme Court. But for the first time, it was properly codified by RTI Act of 2005. I would say it's one of the very good acts in the sense that it's not too long, so you can go through it. Even the government officials can go through it. Otherwise, one doesn't find really time to go through the finer details of the acts. It's a very short act, but it covers nearly all the issues concerning with the substantive aspects and the procedural aspects. On the substantive aspect, it defines right to information. Now, that is the difference between right to information and right to privacy. Right to privacy has also been declared by the Supreme Court as a fundamental right, but it is not yet properly defined. But right to information has been properly defined by the RTI Act under the Section 2 definitional clause of the Act. It also defines information. What do you mean by information? Can you ask for explanation of, let us say, BMC, why things are happening or not happening? No, it only says that information means anything which is there on record. It could be physical record, it could be electronic record. And the third important part is that it defines public authority. Oftentimes, there is a confusion whether the cooperative societies, which I think session you are going to discuss in the afternoon today, are also public authorities under the RTA. So, of course, the answer is no, but there is a confusion. So, for that, Section 2H of the RTA Act very clearly defines who all are public authorities who are mandated to appoint a public information officer and who are bound to reply to the RTA queries by the citizens. In short, all government bodies are public authority. They are definitely covered by the RTA. May it be government, maybe my own commission, maybe BMC, they are all covered. Any institution which has been established by the government under any law or under any regulation are also public authority. Otherwise, all other authorities, our other bodies are public authority if and only if they are getting substantial government financial support. So these are three important clauses in the definition chapter of the RTI Act. Then comes a very important section. I'm not here to kind of give a detailed lecture on the RTI Act, but important provisions I will definitely like to touch. Section 4 is very important. Section 4 says that it is mandatory for all the public authorities, government, MMRDA or whatever have we, to have their records set right, properly organized, properly classified, and digitized. There was a time limit provided for digitization. That time limit has gone way back. So all records have to be digitized and have to be uploaded on the websites as far as possible. And then Section 4 also provides another clause called 4.1b, which says that the information which is concerned with general, public, that should be proactively disclosed on the websites. And this is, to my mind, the crux and the most important clause for the discussion today, which I'll come to a little later. But these are three important sections. Then comes information, Section 6 and 7. Under 6, you make an RTI application in a pro forma prescribed. Under Section 7, the information is given to you. Section 8 provides some exemptions. Not all types of information can be asked. There are certain pieces of information which are exempted, information which is concerning the national security or sovereignty, and several other issues are there. And then comes, to my mind, section number 18 and 19, which covers the complaints clause and the appellate clause. If you do not get information from the public authority, then you have an opportunity to file appeals. The first appeal within the public authority, and then the second appeal with the State RTI Commission. Now, what has happened since the enactment of this law? I will focus only on what happened in Maharashtra because I don't have any authentic data about the country as a whole. In Maharashtra, if you see, since the enactment, we received approximately 55 lakh RTI applications. Now that is all over the state, across public authorities. Some are at the Mantralaya level, other are at the field level. It's a pretty huge number. In terms of second appeal, the Commission received 2,77,000 second appeals. And this is the figure up to December 2016. I don't have the up-to-date data. Now, these two figures indicate that out of the 55 lakh applications, appeals were only 2.77, which is just about 5%. It kind of indicates that things are functioning at the level of public authorities. In 95% cases, citizens didn't have to come to the Commission for enforcing their right to information. Though there are caveats to it, I'll come to it also a little later. Of the second appeal that we received, 2.77 lakhs, the Commission disposed of 2.35 lakh appeals during the last 10-11 years, which again is a good number. Now, there may be several issues, there are several issues in making RTI more effective, but by and large, perhaps we can assume, if not conclude, we can assume that things are working on the RTI front. RTI Act is being implemented, people are getting information. Now, what are the issues which are involved in making the Act more effective? The first issue is whether the people are getting information within time. You may get information, but after 6 months or 1 year. Then the quality of disposal, whether the questions asked were properly answered or not. That's one part. The second issue is that, is the public authority fulfilling its responsibility as the first appellate authority? The second part is that whether the Commission is doing its part properly. And to my mind, the fourth most important part is whether the provisions of Section 4.1b of proactive disclosure are being properly followed or not. Now, you have been discussing issues related to RERA, you have been discussing issues related to development plan or whatever it is. As citizens, most of us are concerned with the quality of, let us say, roads, quality of water supply. what's happening in the ration card department, how many ration cards have been issued, or what RTO is doing. Now, much of this information is required to be proactively disclosed on the websites. That, unfortunately, is not happening. Now, why is that? If you look at the RTI Act, there are two types of information, as I said at the beginning. One, information which is concerned with the citizens in general. I am driving through the city, I am interested in the quality of roads. It's not an issue which is related to me personally, but it is related to everybody. Is the work of metro happening all right? Are there issues? So these are all general issues. And this information is supposed to be disclosed through voluntary, proactive disclosure. And if this happens, the number of applications that people have to make under Section 6 will reduce considerably. Currently what's happening, I am getting RTI appeals in which people are asking that under the MP, MLA fund or other development programs, give me complete information of the works implemented, estimates, payment made to the contractor, etc. But this information actually should be proactively declared or disclosed on the websites. So my request to this forum, to this gathering is that whether it is an issue related to solid waste management or it's related to RERA or development or redevelopment, whatever, we should emphasize on proactive disclosure on the decisions taken by the public authority. And that will go a long way in opening up the functioning of the government to the citizens, make it transparent, and they will become more and more accountable to the citizens. Now, a couple of issues very quickly before I hand over to Mr. Gandhi. One is that, as I mentioned at the beginning, Section 2F clearly says that you can ask only for the record that is available, and you can't ask for its interpretation. There are Supreme Court rulings, of course. Mr. Gandhi will not be comfortable when I say this, but there are Supreme Court rulings that information doesn't mean why and what. It only means that, okay, if this is the paper, you can seek information which is there in it. This is the record. There's another issue, which is that if the information is already available in the public domain, then you are not expected to ask for it under the RTI. Let's say birth and death registers, birth and death record, it's already available in the public domain. There is a set of law which is there to access that information. My own certificate, my father's, let us say, death certificate. For that, you don't have to come in the RTI. Similarly, if there are court proceedings going on in High Court or in District Court, for example, those papers you are supposed to access under the rules which High Court has promulgated, not under the RTI. But oftentimes there is confusion that people start asking about, let us say, the affidavit filed by the opposite party under RTI. So this is another important clause, and that's one reason why RTI generally is getting blocked. This apart about the exemption clause. Now this is a very important area which I think Mr. Gandhi will dwell in details. There are some 8-9 exemptions which are provided in Section 8 and one exemption provided in Section 9. The most contentious issue is about the information which is supposed to be the private information or personal information. People asked about the disciplinary action taken against the government servants, and they said, give me entire record since it's available on record, what kind of deal was done, what kind of notices were issued, what kind of penalty was imposed upon it. Now this under as called 8(1)J has been defined as personal information, and it has been conditionally exempted. I am getting a large number of applications of this sort. And why applications are made? Perhaps that officer, he did not do right things to the person who is asking these questions. He didn't approve his file in time, etc., etc. But this kind of information, as I said, is exempted. However, if larger public interest demands, then even this information can be divulged. But for that, the applicants have to establish a case that yes, there is a genuine or larger public interest for divulging this information. So by and large, these are the important clauses related to RTI. And I think I'll stop at this point, let Mr. Gandhi take over, and then at the end of his presentation, and maybe at the end of the other presentations, we'd like to answer questions raised. Thank you very much.